Hi, I'm Mark Chrystal. I'm the CEO of Netail. And it's my pleasure today to have this session with David Slavick talking all things AI. And so I'll let David introduce himself.
Hi, David Slavick here, co-founder and partner at Ascendant Loyalty. We're a full-service CRM loyalty consulting firm. And actually, I've known Mark, believe it or not, this is 2024. We've known each other for 20 years because Mark and I worked together at American Eagle Outfitters when I headed up loyalty, and he was like all things merchandising and planning and driving that business forward. So, Mark, it's really great to visit with you today. And just for point of disclosure, the two companies are strategic partners, and there's a reason for it, and that's what we're going to get into it today. To be honest, I was at Shop Talk a couple weeks ago in Vegas, and the number one topic that people came forward with that they want Shop Talk, and there was like 12,000 people there at the Mandalay, is tell us about generative AI, about AI. Show us practical examples of how we can employ it to drive our business performance. So when I wind up doing these type of broadcasts, I always delve right into the practical. So that's what we're going to do right now. Mark, what is AI? What is machine learning? And how can it be applied to drive client business?
Yeah, well, why don't I just start with answering what AI is, or artificial intelligence, and we start high, and then we'll dive into the practical applications. So artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines, and basically those machines being programmed to think and learn. It's a hot topic, as you just mentioned, really because it has the potential to revolutionize a wide range of industries, from healthcare to finance to retail, by improving efficiency, automating tasks, solving complex problems that are difficult for humans to tackle. And I think additionally, advancements in AI technology, especially since November of 22 with OpenAI's release of ChatGPT, it's kind of caught the public's imagination and kind of sparked renewed interest in AI. The AI term has been around for a while. But I think now people are just realizing, not only publicly, but I think in businesses, there's a real practical application of this, and if I'm not doing it, I'm going to be left behind, and so everybody's really focused on it, even though not everybody knows how to apply it, what it is, how to use it,
Right.
And obviously it's the purpose of us digging in a little bit deeper.
And being gentle about it too, right? I mean, you've got to hold a client's hand through the process, and like, how do you get started as well? I mean, like, where do you think foundationally people need to just think through? I mean, I have opinions in that regard, having been on that side of the desk, client side. I know where I would start, but where do you see the best way to get started? What are the questions that you ask clients to really know whether they're prepared for it and how you can best lead them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have a lot of retailers come to me and say, help me build an AI strategy, and what should my AI strategy be? And my advice to them is actually AI is just a tool to accomplish your business objectives. And so let's start with your business strategy. What are you trying to achieve? And then let's find some applications where AI makes sense. And it might be that they don't make sense based on your objectives, and we'll table the AI till next year. But very often what we find is that if you talk to management in retail companies and other businesses, very often they have a list of pet peeves or issues that they'd like to see solved, and certainly objectives that they're trying to achieve that are really hard. And so a great way to start is come up with 3, 4, 5 opportunities or objectives that you're going after as a business, and then sit down with someone who's an AI practitioner, an expert, and figure out if AI is and can be applied into those business objectives. And then if so, how you then go about that. That, a lot of people start with like, well, do I have the right data? And at the end of the day, this all starts with actually, do I have the right business problem? Do I understand what I'm trying to achieve? And then figure out the AI aspect of it to get started.
So how to apply it? Right. So how to apply it? Because a lot of times we'll advise clients and we'll do the simple 4-box model. That's just, here's where the revenue lift can come from and the horizontal axis. Here's the demand on resources in the vertical axis. When you're looking at it, they shouldn't say to you, build me a strategic rationale for why I should use AI. They already are using analytics. They already have data, but you hit the nail on the head. It's a tool, it's a solution, and it's kind of a step up in terms of what their capabilities actually are, correct?
Maybe. Again, it's a tool, so it's about like the right tool for the right job, as my father-in-law always tells me. So
don't hit the nail with the sledgehammer either, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's just no reason to do it. There's no reason to do AI for AI's sake. Like, what are you trying to achieve? And then if you think there's an application of AI, bring in an AI practitioner who really understands retail, who understands your business, can understand your business objective, and think through with you, does it make sense to apply AI here?
So after you go through that initial consultative conversation, how do you then get started? So do you always recommend to the client that they should have an advocate for the initiative? And where does that advocate typically come from? What background should that advocate have?
It's also always best to have that advocate be in the business. And, it can be in IT, but I've found for the most part, the business objectives are usually business focused. And it's much better to have a business leader who is the advocate to say, okay, let's sit down and figure out if there's an application of AI. At the end of the day, those business teams are the ones that are going to need to use whatever solution is developed. And so they ideally need to be involved from day one, like defining the problem and then working with whoever's going to help develop the problem or find the solution to the problem, and just be working hand in hand. And I find that if you do that, the solution that you develop ultimately usually ends up being much more successful and more widely used than if it's coming in via IT and they're kind of pushing it on the business.
Right. And how do you caution a CEO? So a CEO is looking at CNBC and there's people being interviewed and they're saying, we're using generative AI to influence certain areas of our business by, understanding, the language that's going on, or to build a more intuitive chatbot, as an example, as opposed to looking at the data, seeing the performance of a business like a grocery business, which I saw you demonstrate, which is a great one because of how many SKUs they have, the variability of geography, the demand in the grocery area is every day. There's multiple trips from customers. They're identifying 98% of all customers that are shopping by matching their phone number to their actual basket. And then that practical application. So when you think about your solution called Profit Mine and you demonstrate to a client how that licensed solution can influence their business decisioning every day, how do you walk them through that? Do you want to show us something?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do that. And so just to kind of precursor, so Profit Mind is an AI business analyst. So today, what's happening across the retail space, and it's actually an amazing stat. So retailers spend $198 billion a year globally on analytics solutions.
Oh my gosh.
Only to end up doing all of their key decision making in Excel spreadsheets, which is incredibly error prone and time consuming. And so what we've built is a business analyst that's an AI that actually gets the teams ideally out of that Excel drudgery. It goes through, it looks at the marketplace, it looks at the internal data that they're having to pull out of all these systems and put into Excel. It does all that work effectively, and then it goes through and figures out what are the opportunities to drive incremental revenue, incremental profits, how can I free up some working capital to fund growth, and really get those business teams moving much faster. Yeah, so we design Profit Mind to basically report like an analyst reports. And so it produces an executive summary. It shows you what it's found. So here it's found $980,000 in incremental revenue this week. It's found $1.3 million in incremental profit. And it's also found $46,000 in working capital. So it's basically cash that's tied up in inventory that can be freed up to fund growth. It's found opportunities, like 237 opportunities across the business. It's constantly scanning the web, looking for new competitive products that are released, and it's found 72 new ones that it's asking you to take a look at. In this example, it's analyzing 50,000 SKUs from a retailer. It's found a competitor for 92% of them. We even analyze why we can't find competition. Sometimes they're totally unique. In this case, it's tracking 24 competitors and about 150,000 products in real time competitively. And so what it's doing is it's taking in the business objectives that you have, and you tell it in language what you're trying to achieve, just like you would with a human analyst. It then goes and collects all this external market data, tracking products SKU by SKU. And it then goes through and looks at your internal data and starts making recommendations. And so here in this executive summary on the key insights, gives you a verbal description of what it's finding. It gives you a tabular view of what it's found. So it's found a bunch of price increase opportunities, and it's quantified what those are worth. It's found some areas where investment could be increased. So those are areas where you might be out of stock or under stock, and it's quantifying how much incremental revenue and profit you could drive if you fund those areas. It's also identified areas where you should reduce investment. So I'm overstocked, and it even goes to the next step of not only am I overstocked, but how am I going to get out of that position? Can I affect my on order, or can I run a promotion? And in this case, it's identified a promotion to run. And how much capital will be freed up after you run the promotion, and whether your profitability will be impacted while you run the promotion. And then it also shows you price decrease opportunities, so areas where it's recommending you change the price. If we go and look at some of these opportunities, so it will show you in priority order the actions you should take. So as a retailer coming in on a Monday morning, it's gone through all of that Excel work, basically pulling all the data together, and it's then quantifying the opportunities and showing you in priority order the actions you can take to drive the business. In this case, these are pricing opportunities that it's found. The first one's worth $286,000 for the business. You can click on any one of these opportunities, and actually in those opportunities, it tells you the insight. So here in this case, it's actually found that in this category, you're significantly cheaper than your competition. You're actually about 16% cheaper than the competition. And it's run a scenario and figured out that if you increase your prices by about 14.5%, that you'll only lose about 4% in unit demand. And so it's estimated then that you can generate about $200,000 in incremental revenue and $286,000 in incremental profit. It gives you the action it wants you to take. It gives you deeper reasoning for every single insight it finds. It shows you a distribution of the price changes that it would like you to take. It even shows you item by item the current price, the suggested price, the impact that if you follow its recommendation, it will take. And you can even come in and have a dialogue with the analyst. So this is where you can come in and actually ask questions of, do I want to run a different scenario, or do I not like this scenario? And so the example I always like to provide is I can say, like, I don't like this price increase recommendation. Oops.
Or the increase is too high, judgmentally,
Yeah.
or what have you. Yeah.
Let's try. I don't know, David. Do you want to suggest an alternate
10%.
percentage? 10%.
Increase.
Let's try.
Let's be
10%.
reasonable with our shoppers.
And I've even misspelled, and hopefully can read my misspelling. So what ProfitMind is doing here is it's understood we're asking it to rerun the pricing scenarios, and so it's rerunning, it's recalculating every single SKU, and in a few seconds, here we go, it came back, it's recalculated every item, it's recalculated now with that 10% cap. Here's my sales and margin. It still doesn't want to change every item by the full 10%. It's actually now said there's 57 SKUs instead of 58 that would be profitable with this change.
And those SKUs could be big traffic drivers, and you could get cross-shopping out of it or something else as a result. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And it's gone through and recalculated every single item. We've even told it that we want it to have a 99-cent ending in our rules. And so you can see it's converting that as well. And so you can basically ask ProfitMind anything. It works just like an analyst working for you, and does lots more besides in terms of understanding the business, giving you insights into how you do it.
The really cool part is you can do all these what-if scenarios. You're responding back and forth in real time with the tool. It's providing strategic written recommendations, which is one of the biggest gaps, I think, in the whole analytical space. Is you can show me all the dashboards in the world and give me all these snapshots, but then someone has to come up with the rationale as to why. And the fact is, you've got that built in as well. How many months does it take to set up something like this with that many SKUs, and also set up the scraping for the competitive environment as well?
Yeah, so we've designed this to be really fast. So usually up and running in 4 weeks on the competitive insights. And then within 8 weeks on everything you just saw in terms of the pricing and the price optimization models and all the explanations and insights. So normally within 2 months, we're up and running and providing strong value into the business.
It's amazing. It's just amazing. And now that you have the solution in place, which just demonstrates the power of the business as a partner, are you doing proof of concepts, or you go from proof of concept pretty quickly to an ongoing?
Yeah, we operate either way. So we have lots of retailers that say, look, we just need help and let's just get going and let's skip the POC and let's just jump right in. And we obviously love that. But also we'll do proof of concepts and actually we found with all of our POCs so far that every retailer has seen value and wanted to move into a full subscription with the platform, which is really exciting.
Yeah. So our plan at Ascendant is to advocate this solution across all the different retail clients that we service, and really bring those demos to them so that they could see the power of what you bring. So kind of like in closing, what do you see for the future of ProfitMind, and what do you see for the future of AI, besides just people getting more and more comfortable with it? Is there something that's happening next that we should be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, well, what's next is going to be, so what we've seen recently is large language models. So everything that's kind of language based has been revolutionized with AI. We're going to see that move into the vision space is the next wave. You're starting to see that with technologies like OpenAI Sora, which is the video technology that OpenAI recently released. But there's going to be lots of other applications of vision-based technology, which, for example, could be, cameras in the stores as an example, looking at the shelves and identifying stockouts and helping design teams look at products and redesigning the products using kind of vision technology. I mean, any application of vision is coming next. With ProfitMind, we're continuing to expand. As we see it as an all-encompassing analyst for retailers. So we've started with the core profitability decisions around pricing and assortment, and an inventory, but we're ultimately going to extend it into perhaps supply chain, into customer analytics, and other areas that AI is getting applied in the retail space. We think we have an analyst here that can come in and actually help supercharge the teams across the board, and so that's what's next for us. We are using some vision technology where when we do our competitive matching, we're actually looking at the retailers' images and their products visually and comparing them across the competition, so we can find fashion products and competitive products across fashion that doesn't have an exact duplicate out on the web. We can find very similar products, and we look at it, basically our vision models look at it the way a human would look at it and the way they would shop. And so we've already got some of that in, and we'll continue to extend that capability.
So just as an FYI to conclude, Mark and I are drafting up a white paper. I'm calling it AI and Generative AI and Machine Learning for Dummies. Mark's making sure that I'm not a dummy when I'm writing this thing up, and being a great editor, even though I'm a pretty good editor, but he's just eating me up as a result. We're on the 4th revision because it's so much to learn and apply, which is great. And so I'll be putting that out on our website. Mark will be sharing it out as well on his LinkedIn. And there'll be links to both of our companies as a result. And, it's really our pleasure to share this with you all on YouTube, and put it out there for everyone to know and learn. But the ProfitMind solution is just really a game changer in the space. And I encourage you to reach out to Mark. I don't know, Mark, if you want to provide your email address, simple enough at the end of this, and contact information, and people can reach out to you.
Yeah, we'll do that on profitmind.com. And David, really appreciate the partnership and the endorsement.
It's our pleasure. Here's to another 20 years, my friend.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree.